I'm Ellen Geist through Detroit Public Television's Great Lakes Bureau, greatlakesnow.org. We're here at the University of Texas Energy Journalism Workshop in Austin, Texas. And please just tell us who you are, your name and title. What do you do?
Yes, I'm Maria Gallucci. I was the 2017-2018 Energy Journalism Fellow at the University of Texas, and I'm currently a freelance science journalist.
One of the reasons I really want to talk to you is we cover the Great Lakes, water, the environment. The shipping industry is a huge part of the concerns for the future of the Great Lakes. We've got the Soo Locks, and we've also got a lot of worries about energy and the Great Lakes. And you did an interesting project. Just tell a little bit more about what you studied about the shipping industry and energy.
Sure. So as part of the fellowship, I spent the last year reporting about clean energy development in the maritime industry. So I was really interested in how this particular sector, which is a huge piece of our economy, local economy in the Great Lakes and internationally, how this sector is kind of entering the clean energy transformation that we see in electricity with solar and wind, or electric vehicles and ground transportation. And so during the course of my fellowship, I interviewed many companies, entrepreneurs, people within the industry who are working on exciting new technologies, including electrification for vessels, hydrogen fuel cell development, biofuels. There's an interesting biofuel initiative in the Great Lakes in Michigan to convert federal research vessels to use biofuels as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, the Michigan initiative?
Sure. So it's the National Oceanic. Sorry for
NOAA.
It's NOAA. NOAA has a research station in Michigan, and they have a fleet of a few dozen vessels, and in the last decade they've been converting them to the diesel engines to run on oil-based fuels to soy-based fuels. So it's 100% biodiesel, and they did that as part of an initiative to address local air pollution issues, and also to kind of help start promoting clean energy development, not just in their own vessels, but in other vessels across the country.
Tell us a little bit more some of the exciting technologies, and I can't help thinking too, sewage, septic tanks, things like that. I always wonder about how that really works on ships.
Yeah, so I didn't focus so much on sewage, but there are pretty stringent international regulations on dumping, things like that. Whether or not all ships comply, especially when they're out in international waters, is another question.
Let's go to electricity then, and again, how they could possibly go clean and sustainable in the future. Just a few more ways that you could talk about that you might be excited about for the future.
Sure. So the challenge for the cargo shipping industry is really how to bring these technologies to scale. So while there are a lot of exciting examples in smaller vessels like ferries, for example, haven't really gotten to the point where they're in the big container ships. But for example, Norway is a place where you see they have ferries that run completely on batteries. They recharge at the ports. They're making shorter trips, and they'll recharge at one stop, recharge at the other, and back. Norway is also investing heavily in hydrogen infrastructure, which doesn't produce any emissions at all, and is used in a fuel cell, which is like a battery. So Norway's a really great example that other countries are looking to see what's happening there.
Do you think in the future ships could run without oil or gas and without even using electricity the way we use it now, that they could go solar, wind, or many other sources like that to make it sustainable, renewable?
I think it's possible. I think the question is when the technology will be scaled and economic to the point where companies actually make that investment, or their investors are willing to take that risk. So I think for the for the cargo shipping industry, that sort of transformation is probably still decades away if we're talking about the full fleet of ocean-going ships. But we are starting to see really exciting transformations, as I mentioned, in ferries, tugboats, research vessels, which make smaller trips and shorter journeys as well.
That makes me think that the Great Lakes is a great place to do this because it's nearer to shores. It's not huge, long days after day after day out in the ocean. The Great Lakes might be a better place to do some of this renewable, sustainable work.
Absolutely. I think the Great Lakes, other smaller regions, is where you're going to see a lot of this innovation happen first, because before you can take it across the ocean, you're going to have to be able to refine it and perfect it at a more regional scale, and the Great Lakes is a great place for that.
Thank you so much for talking with us, Maria, at greatlakesnow.org.